Hey guys, streams here again. This meeting with Takemichi led the Black Dragons. The one was made by Mark Spade. I'll leave him in the comments. Alright, I'll leave one of his video links in the comments. So, basically in this one, Takemichi will be more active as the Black Dragons leader. He's the 11th generation leader, that he claims he's the final leader of the Black Dragons because he put them in Tomon and then Tomon disbanded. But we're going to go to the incident with Tenjiku. When Emma dies, Draken and Mikey are distraught, and Tomon refuses to fight. Takemichi, well, he needs to find something to do. He needs to find some way for them to fight in the incident, for them to fight against the numbers of Tenjiku. So Takemichi and Inoue are talking alongside his normal group, like his Mizo middle group. And at this point, well, he's not in the hospital. They're in the hospital lobby talking about this. And he does a question, like, what's Takemichi so focused on? And he says that Tomon has a battle tonight. This battle will determine the lives of Tomon members. Like, people that want to participate in this want to murder Tomon. So he was kind of shocked that, like, this is not a normal fight. This is a probable murder that may happen. So this one, Inoue actually brings up something he's been holding back. Takemichi should lead Black Dragon. Like, he needs to lead it properly. Takemichi's a little nervous, but says, like, well, Tomon, a lot of the dragons left Tomon because they left Black Dragons in general because they were defeated. But he was like, if they hear the Black Dragons will come back together, they will rally at your side because you're 11th generation leader. So Takemichi agrees with this, and well, he calls upon two people, Akai and Yuzuha. He calls upon them. He tells them their idea. He tells them his idea, and well, Yuzuha and Akai both respectively beat the hell out of Inoue and Takemichi. But Takemichi says that either this or Tomon will be murdered by Tenjiku. Not like murdered, like, oh, we'll be eaten. No. A lot of Tomon members will be quite literally murdered in the battle. Hakai does know this, and reluctantly says, fine. And Hakai, knowing they will need this help, tells them how to contact Taiju. They contact Taiju, and Taiju asks what they want. And Takemichi says, both members are like dragons, are in Tomon now, but he needs his help to basically lead Tomon. Taiju would ask what, and he talks about Tenjiku, and Taiju says, what do I get out of this? And Takemichi says, Hakai temporarily joins the Black Dragons, I guess, and like until the battle ends or until it's resolved, he's gonna be in the Black Dragons. Taiju says, deal. So they meet up at a church, and the Black Dragons follow suit. So this is around 10 minutes before the battle starts. And Tomon would realize that Black Dragons are gathering somewhere. When they gather, they see Takemichi leading them. Now Inoue's watching from the corner, and a lot of Tomon asks what's going on. Like Mitsuya's like, what's going on? Why are the Black Dragons here? Why is Takemichi leading them? And that's when Inoue's like, well, since Mikey beat him, you guys can't hand the victory to Takemichi because he put Taiju on his knees in one punch. So it kind of makes him the last leader of Black Dragons, and Mikey and Draken are distraught because they know about Emma and everything. So Mikey and Draken are basically zilch. They're not going to be able to participate. So with this, the Black Dragons is the last hope. So every single member of the Black Dragon returned, and with this, well, here's the final incident of the first half of Tokyo Revengers, or the incident for the final arc. The Tomon will be marching with the Black Dragons, and Black Dragons, they have a few spare uniforms, so they throw them Tomon members, and it's just enough for them all to put on Black Dragon uniforms. They have 2 extra uniforms. Yeah, coincidentally, are just the size for Mikey and Draken. So Takemichi will have like one of the clans members march to the hospital and hand them to Hina. Hina takes them and goes to Mikey and Draken. Mikey and Draken ask what the uniforms are, pulls them out, and they're shocked. She says Takemichi is leading the Black Dragons into the fight. Mikey and Draken are here. Mikey has to muster up enough courage to be even considered worthy of his brother's gang. And well, they're going to be working under Takemichi. But Mikey puts on the uniform after realizing that Takemichi is more similar to Shinichiro in every single way than Mikey could ever be. Hina will tell him about Takemichi's travels to the future. And well, now Draken puts the uniform on in sheer guilt. Takemichi has been risking his own life. He's been risking his own life mainly to save everyone else. And there was really no way to save Baji, but he still tried his best. Made it so Kazutora didn't die. He gave Baji the most honorable death possible. So Draken puts the uniform on in guilt, well, for putting Takemichi through everything, and they proceed to march to the battlefield. Now, Black Dragons, I guess, will arrive 5 minutes early before the battle, and Izuna questions, where's Tomon? Remembers the Tomon that already has their fist in the air, and Takemichi said basically that Mikey and Kisaki over there killed Emma, and that basically messed up Mikey and Draken to the point where he doesn't know if they can fight. So these two argument between Takemichi and Izuna. Izuna's like, no, I want to fight Mikey, get the hell out of here, I don't want the Black Dragons, I want Tomon. And Takemichi says, we're not going to get them because you guys ruined it. Eventually, Izuna will rush at Takemichi and go for a kick. Suddenly, that kick is blocked by someone. Draken. Draken just says, alright, leader, so what should we do next? Takemichi would be shocked that they came, and he sees Hina watching. Takemichi would just laugh, saying, destroy Tenjiku. And, Black Dragons and Tomon rush in. Taiju rushes right toward Koko. Right toward him. And Akai at his side. And Koko realizes that Taiju's trucking right at him, and is like, well, fuck, I'm gonna die. And before Mucho steps in front of him, but immediately Akai will grab Mucho and slam him. As Taiju then basically just shoulder blocks Koko right into like a... This battle took place at like a cargo area, so near there, I think. Well, no, probably not, but... Well, let's say that Taiju basically trucks Koko right into a car, breaking a lot of bones in Koko's whole upper body. Taiju just laughs, saying that Koko's a damn traitor, to two gangs, and then Taiju and Akai team up, actually have really good teamwork. And Taiju and Akai are both shocked at this, because they don't like each other at all. And they're basically just training, they're not training, but they're really a duo, they work in tandem perfectly. Takemichi will just watch as that's when Kaku would run at him, and Takemichi is able to block a few punches, and would realize that there's a good opening for uppercut him. So when Kaku will go for a punch, Takemichi is able to dodge, and uppercut Kakucho right in the jaw, and it knocks him on the ground. Takemichi, I did this because there's a phrase where Takemichi's like, he hasn't been in a fight since he was like 14. That gives me the impression that Takemichi actually did know how to fight when he was a kid, and has the strength to back up his fists, or has the power to back up, has the strength to back up his words, his will, everything. Takemichi didn't fight in so long, he didn't know how to fight anymore. So that may be taken away, but Takemichi has a spirit to fight now. With this, actually has enough strength to actually knock Kakucho on his ass. Kakucho will stand up, wobbling, and holding his mouth. He's bleeding from his nose as well. Now Mi's in the middle, she cheers, saying, that's Takemichi we knew. Now as Kaku tries to get back up, Takemichi actually pins him down, proceeds to punch him in the face until he's unconscious. And Izuna realizes that Kakucho's down. Takemichi himself took down Heavenly King, but that was just because of a really lucky punch, honestly. Kaku could have blocked it, but he was too slow. He left a hit. He was kind of cocky against Takemichi and left an opening. It was an unintentional opening, but it was an opening nonetheless. Takemichi knocked him on his ass and proceeded to hold him down and beat him unconscious. So more miscellaneous members of Tenjiku are Takemichi, and Mizumoto begins helping him. Now Takemichi actually just takes a decent stance, like a decent fighting stance, and just is able to get a few strikes in and knock a few guys out. Now we go to basically Mikey versus Izuna. Now Izuna actually is proving to have really good martial arts skills, but we go to Kisaki and Hanma. Hanma's fighting Draken, and Kisaki's about to pull his gun. But from behind, something wooden breaks, and it's oddly loud. You see Kisaki fall to the ground with blood coming from his head, and we see Takemichi with a broken bat in his hand. And Takemichi, he stands right over Kisaki, and proceeds to punch him in the face until Takemichi's fists give out and are pretty bloody. Takemichi wouldn't do this for ever. And Takemichi just does this until he has to be pulled off Kisaki. We go to Draken. He basically, Hanma tried to rush towards Kisaki, but Draken basically just put him in a chokehold and choked him out. The Draken will pull Takemichi off of Kisaki, saying, Alright, you're done, and he's out cold. Takemichi would headbutt Draken right in the face, and she'd get back on Kisaki, and, Takemichi would do something he never thought he would do. He killed Kisaki with his own hands. Now, Hina wasn't watching because she had left, but Takemichi, he's glad Hina left, because he killed Kisaki, and, Tenjiku had realized this, and Draken was a shock, but it was not a shock. Hina basically told them all about what happened with Takemichi and Kisaki throughout each time he went back to the future, each time he went to the past. Draken did know that Takemichi had basically... killing is wrong, but Takemichi had been through so much that doing this to Kisaki was something Takemichi needed to do. So now Kisaki is dead, and well, Taiju had basically interfered in the fight with Mikey and Izuna, essentially like tackling Izuna and slamming him into the ground. And as Izuna tried to back up, Mikey did this signature roundhouse, knocking him out cold. Now Mikey high fives Taiju, and we go to Hakai and Angry versus the Haitani brothers. Well, Smiley and Angry, not Smiley and Angry, I mean Smiley and Mitsuya, they're actually were able to participate because, well, yes, they were in the hospital or injured previously, but there's a lot more numbers, so they can actually fight and not need to go all out or need to push themselves so much. Smiley and Angry are actually able to be a pretty good duo against Haitani brothers and take down one of them. Then, well, when one of them actually tried to attack Smiley, who's actually pretty injured, well, Angry gets behind them and hits them right in the skull with a brick, knocking them out cold and giving the same injury that they gave Mitsuya. So yeah, eventually this leads to a landslide victory for Black Dragons over Tenjiku. Everyone leaves, and well, Takemichi actually does say that they need to get a few people out of here. So Sanzu actually does want to just like sneakily pull out a knife and want to kill Mucho, but Takemichi doesn't notice it and punches Sanzu right in the jaw, and tell someone else to handle Mucho, Coco, Izuna, and pause real quick. Basically, someone else escort Mucho out of there. Then someone else has to escort Izuna. Someone else has to escort Coco. Someone else has to escort Coco. Not Coco. I mean Kaku. Coco is still taken out, but Inui helps him out. And then, well, Draken actually helps Hanma of his own accord. But, well, Draken does actually wake up Hanma, and him and Hanma are actually able to like prepare Kisaki's body. Basically take off his jacket, put his arms across his chest, and lay the jacket over Kisaki's face. And they leave, and now, well, the battle ended. A landslide victory for Tomon. And Takemichi will go to the future for his last time. And when you're in the future, well, he gets out of a truck with Hina. Hina is in a very, very, very beautiful dress, because Hina and Takemichi already promised to marry each other. The whole time box, or the whole capsule, the time capsule, everything happens the same way. It's just Taiju joins in. Everyone joins in at this point. Kaku even joins in because Izuna does not die. Then you see Izuna actually join in, like basically Coco leaves. He's not interested in this. Hanma actually does think Draken, because Hanma and Draken are now on good terms, and kind of goes with Draken. So Hanma doesn't participate, just watches. So Izuna, Taiju, Hakai, Mitsuya, Smiley, Angry, Mikey, Draken, Hanma's watching, Payon. This is every single vice captain of Tomon, just not Payon or Bachi, not Payon, not Pachin or not Pachin or Baji, because Baji's dead and Pachin is in jail, because Sora's in jail. But then we would have Mikey and Draken, then Taiju, Izuna, Kakucho. I'll write down something real quick. Alright, so people that participate in the capsule, the time capsule is more like a giant box that they all take a few, like an hour or two to bury. But they put everything they cared about in it. Kakucho, well, Izuna retired from being a gangster, and Izuna basically puts his earrings in there. But Kaku actually takes one of them and puts his own in there. And Kaku and Izuna participate by putting earrings in there. Taiju basically will just put his Black Dragon's jacket in there, like kind of fold it up and put it in there. Hakai will do the same thing, but include a Tomon uniform as well, because he retired from being in a gang. Him and Taiju, they're gonna try to repair their brother's relationship alongside Yuzuha. And Mitsuya he puts in whatever he did in canon. Chifuyu puts in whatever he wants to. Payon just puts in a letter of Pachin. Then Mikey and Draken, Mikey puts in the same disc he does. As Draken puts in whatever he did, like the letter to himself. Smiley and Angry, they put in whatever they wanted to. Inui and Coco, they participate in this because Inui had a bigger role. He was serving Takemichi as like the vice commander. He was like Takemichi's Draken. So Inui puts in just like a letter to himself as well. Coco just puts in a few bucks, hoping that the bucks can inflate. Takemichi and Hina participated because she basically gave Draken and Mikey the Tomon uniforms, because that deserves some credit. And basically Hina kind of just put in like a note saying, like, to a future thing, saying, you better marry Takemichi. Takemichi basically put a letter to himself saying, I hope the future goes well, and you better marry Hina. Mitsuya participated because actually did do really well. So like they didn't do too much actually, but they did decent. And they still put letters to himself like Gishi was like you better be a delinquent legend. Akun was like be a good hairdresser. Takemichi, yeah, Suzuki was like you better be a playboy or something. It's like something that involves a lot of women. And Yamamoto was like, don't be weak. And then and then Hanma, he's watched, but once they all left, well, they all knew he was watching because Draken brought Hanma with him. Because Draken, like, Hanma was like, I have nothing else in life. I'll just stick with you. So yeah. So Hanma, once like everyone left it unburied, and Takemichi basically said, "Oh, I've got to go grab something. You guys want to come with me?" Hanma just kind of wrote a small letter saying Kisaki was leading you down the wrong path. Hopefully, Draken could lead you down the right one. Hanma buries the letter and buries everything else. And Tomoe was just watching from the shadows. Hanma didn't realize that, but they were. Eventually, Takemichi goes back to the future, but actually does give his first kiss with Hina, but gives one that he would want to Hina. Hina would blush, Takemichi shakes hands with Naoto, and he sees the future. Now he gets out of a giant black truck, and he looks at the drivers. Yamagishi, and, well, actually became a delinquent legend. Because in the fight, well, someone tried to charge at Takemichi with a knife, and Yamagishi actually bumped into them and pushed them over. And if they're going hard enough to knock it, to usually be knocked out. So, he was known as the guy who would take on foes with knives. Basically, like, that's very impressive. And Yamamoto, well, he's actually decently muscular, so it's pretty impressive. Suzuki, he's pretty rich, and actually does have a lot of women. Akun was one of the best hairdressers in Japan. Kakucho and Izuna, they're in the back of the car. Well, not in the back, they're in the front seat. Takemichi and Hino in the back of the car. Takemichi seems to be wearing a pretty expensive suit and looks at his hand. Still has a knife scar, but also a few of his knuckles have a few scars on them just from punching Kisaki in the face over and over, and a bit of his glasses shattering and scratching his hands. But, well, he took off gloves because these gloves will show them. Takemichi just realized why he covered them up. It's a bit shameful for him. So yeah, Hina's actually wearing a pretty nice dress, but he looks at Kakucho. He has a tattoo of Izuna's necklace on his neck, and Izuna has a tattoo of his earring on the back of his neck. Now with this, we basically see Takemichi, who just walks into the restaurant, but into the giant church, and we see Taiju as a preacher, Hakai just sitting in the corner drinking something, Yuzo next to him. We see Mitsuya, Fuyu, Mikey, Draken, not Mikey, but Draken, Smiley, Angry, Inui, Coco's not here, but basically everyone except for like Coco and Mikey. Hanma actually just participates because he worked for Draken. So Hanma would replace Coco, and Taiju replaces Mikey. But yeah, everyone else is there. And Takemichi, he would talk to Izuna, and Izuna over time did actually learn about everyone that participated in like the burial thing, just not Hanma or Coco. They knew about Takemichi's ability to see the future, and he actually asked Izuna about it. Like, said, "Oh yeah, where's Mikey?" Izuna says, "Oh, he must have just come back." Michi froze, looking at Hina, and says, "Why the hell did you tell him?" Hina just says, "I kind of told everyone." Michi would just sigh, looking at Izuna, saying, "All right, where is he?" Izuna just says, "I wouldn't ask me. Ask Kakucho. He trusts you more, or likes you more, not trusts." That just indicates that Izuna doesn't like Takemichi, and he's right. Izuna doesn't like Takemichi. But with this, basically, Takemichi would participate in the wedding, and actually ask Kaku at their wedding. And he did ask Draken, and Draken gave the same answer that it didn't canon, just like, "Oh yeah, he's overseas." But Kaku will give it to Takemichi straight, just for old friend's sake. Mikey is leading a whole different gang called Bone Ten, alongside Coco and basically everyone else that was everyone else canonically in Bone Ten, just not Kakucho. Mikey approached Kakucho to ask it, and Kakucho broke his jaw in response. But since Kakucho broke Mikey's jaw, Mikey had broke his face. So yeah, Kakucho has a few notable scars having his face broken. Yeah, now with this, because Tora and him, she'd like just kind of go around looking for answers. Takemichi does actually ask Kazutora, like, like, how do they become rich? Because he didn't ask anyone else about that because they think it's a dumb question. But Kazutora is like, you serious? You lead the Black Dragons. You're respected. You're still the leader of it. Takemichi should not know that. He's the leader of Black Dragons, doesn't really fight that much. But basically, Takemichi, actually in this one, actually did take a bit of boxing classes as an adult because, well, his body got back into the habit of fighting. So he got back in the habit of actually knowing how to fight. Well, he's not good at boxing, but he knows the basics of how to fight. Now, when actually he's thrown at a restaurant, someone like tried to push him or punch him, he's able to dodge and punch them back. He's like, ah, damn it, this is useless. Eventually, he starts looking like dragons, asking them about it, and like, oh yeah, we know this, we know that. Taiju even gives Takemichi an answer, and Taiju's answer is the correct one. So they go to the base. Sanju meets Takemichi with a gun, but quickly Sanju's punched right in the face and then knocked unconscious. And this actually is a week before the wedding with him and Hina. His wedding happened to be in a different country, so Takemichi had to leave soon. He had to leave in 3 days. But yeah, he basically just knocked out Sanzu. And when he was walking up, he would see Mucho tied up and strapped up. Tied to a chair with his mouth and everything taped up. When she unties him, tapes him, says he will if Mucho would tell him where Mikey is. And Mucho tells him, like, on the top floor, go there. Michi does just that, and Mucho would run out, but not before punching Sanju right in the throat full force and killing him. Yeah, so eventually they go up to Takemichi would go to the top floor and end up talking to Mikey. Mikey actually does shoot Takemichi, but Takemichi, his body's a little bit better shape, and able to move out of the last bullet. He shot twice, and then the third shot would be the more fatal one. Takemichi still coughing a bit of blood. Mikey would try to shoot Takemichi again. Takemichi would dash at him and punches him right in the ribs. Mikey would admit Takemichi is actually really strong, and he says that Takemichi at this point, as an adult, if Takemichi wasn't in control of his current body, he'd give Draken, when he was a teenager, a run for his money. But Mikey falls back holding his ribs, and one of them did break, or get pretty badly cracked. But Mikey hits Takemichi right in the face with his gun, and shoots Takemichi not fatally, but right in a certain spot in his leg. Now, Mikey actually did unintentionally make this a very fatal shot that would bleed a lot. Takemichi tries to limp after Mikey, but falls down, and as Mikey would jump off the roof, Takemichi would lean over, grabbing his hand and catching it. Mikey and Takemichi shake hands unintentionally, and Takemichi will go back to the past. When he gets to the past, he appears in the future, and he's in school. But is surrounded by a few guys. Takemichi's hair is noticeably black and a little bit longer. Takemichi actually just got in the habit of wearing gloves, but Takemichi doesn't really like the habit of wearing the gloves. The gloves he wore were uncomfortable, so what he did basically just like grab bandage wraps and wrap them around his hand. Pretty sure Neji had those basically the wraps that Rock Lee wore. He kind of wears those. So yeah. Now, Takemichi would notice that his guards are actually Yamagishi and Yamamoto. And Yamamoto just actually getting in the habit of getting jacked. Like he's somewhat muscular, but not as muscular as his adult form. And Hina actually told them a day ago. But Yamagishi asked Takemichi, and Takemichi would say, "Damn it, I was too late to stop it." But Yamamoto asked Takemichi why he came back, and Takemichi just tells him everything. And he actually just gathers everyone in his school that's in the future. He does everyone that he could. Taiju actually had me outside. I'd be outside waiting to pick up Hakai, but he's more big on my own side. And he tells them about what happened in the future. And like you shouldn't have went looking for Mikey. He would have killed himself regardless. But he went in front. Let's say it was Shifuyu that said it, and Franci punches Shifuyu right in the face, almost knocking him out. Takemichi's very upset, and actually says that he needed to find Mikey. But everyone just discouraged it and didn't want to help him. We told them that they'd help him in the future. Well, they didn't want to do it again. So yeah, now he leaves and decides to hang out with Draken. Meanwhile, with Draken, Honda's fixing up a car. And Takemichi does notice that the building's a lot bigger. And, the building's decently big, like a pretty decent-sized building. And Draken would say, well, yeah, with Honda's help, and Honda actually knowing certain kinds of cars, and how to repair some of them, or how to jumpstart some of them, Honda stealing a few of them before, they made a lot more money. And they secretly specialize in using older cars or older models with help of Hanma. So they did a lot better. Plus, well, Hanma has security is actually able to pressure people by scaring them into paying a lot more for cars. So Yeah. Takemichi just chuckles and looks at Hanma as him and Hanma begin talking a bit, and Hanma does still his long hair, and occasionally does go to Saki's grave to just like say like you were still a good guy. You led me down the wrong path, or was attempting to do it, but you're still a decent person. But eventually, him and Draken were out on a drive. Well, Inui came back, and then Inui came back from a drive, and they all went to drive to this location. Now, while Black Dragons, a lot of them disbanded, but his friends still like guarded him. Takemichi as an adult, he had a little bit more prominence because, well, Boneton started pushing his territory, or his old territory. They thought Takemichi still didn't care about it, but yeah, he basically almost beat one of Boneton's guys half to death, and then Black Dragons came back to fruition. So as a teenager, it's not really Black Dragons that are really too popular. It's more or less just Takemichi and his friends. As an adult, Black Dragons came back, but as a teenager, they're completely gone. So when they go to where Inui had told them about, they go to the location. Inui's with Takemichi, still being the vice leader of Tokyo Revengers, as vice leader of Black Dragons. Now Takemichi would stare down one of the guys there, as he has a little bit more confidence. So he had the confidence to punch Mikey in the ribs, so they give him a bit of ego boost. But he looks down one of the guys, being South Toronto, and does notice one of the guys with him being Mucho, other one being Kakucho, but Kakucho looks pretty beat up. Takemichi look at Kakucho saying, "Kaku, where's Izuna?" Izuna suddenly appears, kicking Kakucho right in the face, saying, "You idiot!" and sends Kakucho flying to the ground. Kakucho says, "Izuna, how'd you find me?" Izuna says, that kick was for leaving behind to pay for the bill a week ago. He says, Takemichi, and Izuna got a little bit back to his normal personality, because, well, he actually works for Draken as well. Now, you guys may be wondering why Mikey still went down the wrong path, because I didn't explain that. The reason that Mikey went down the wrong path is because Izuna didn't have intention of getting along with him. He still hated Mikey. But, well, he was more of a follower to Takemichi more than Mikey, either way. And Mikey realized that there was really no hope of restoring his relationship with Izuna, and there's also no hope of really just, well, there's no hope of getting along with everyone again. They didn't hear about the future, and they're shocked at what Mikey had done. Yes, they still cared about him, it was just shocking. But then again, Mikey did realize that they probably don't want to get along with him, and due to Mikey's own insecurities, he formed Bone 10 to get away from everyone else. So this is kind of indirectly the fault of Hina, but also indirectly the fault of Takemichi. Those two kind of made Mikey join make Kantomaji gang and formed as Bone 10, but they have the same symbol as Toman and Kanto did. So still the whole swastika. But now with this, Takemichi would proceed to just, well, start down south, and Izuna is with them. So Draken proceeds to fight south. South was about to get hit on Draken. Two fists will hit South right in the chin. Takemichi and Izuna. And South hits the ground. He's unconscious. Takemichi and Izuna were still pretty physically strong. Like I said before, due to Takemichi actually getting a little bit of fighting in an Tenjiku incident, his body actually had the habit of, well, liking fighting, and when he's not in control of it, his body had the habit of occasionally working out. And Takemichi actually had a lot of physical strength compared to his past self and, well, old future self. As an adult, well, his adult body actually could have given this Draken a run for his money, like Mikey had said. Well, in reality, that Mikey is slightly wrong. This adult Takemichi could have actually rocked Draken shit. Not Mikey's, though, because Mikey has that roundhouse kick and an insanely small and fast body. Takemichi's pretty short, too, but he basically has just, like, good footwork, but not the speed to back all that up. Like, his footwork's pretty okay, but Mikey's just really fast and just hits harder. Yeah, adult Takemichi's just really physically strong. That's really it. But yeah, so eventually, tossed on the ground, and two fist imprints on his chin, and he's unconscious. Kakucho would stand up and look shocked. Takemichi and Izuna took him down in individual one blow. South and Draken were blocking each other's blows. Takemichi and Izuna just needed one good opening to knock him out. Then Senju would walk up, and Wakasa, Arashi, and Akashi see Takemichi. Immediately all three of them bow their heads, and Senju looked confused. Senju looked at Takemichi closely, realizing he's the current leader of Black Dragons, or the former leader of it. Well, not former. Takemichi still considers Takemichi the leader. When someone asks about Black Dragons, like, oh yeah, being led by Takemichi Hanagaki. And Akashi, Arashi, and Wakusa, they know who Takemichi is. They know what he looks like. Black Dragons are kind of inactive. Takemichi would summon them, they'd all form again. He's a good leader, actually. He's about as good as Shinichiro. It makes them an honorable gang, and actually gives them a pretty good reputation, even among civilians. So, essentially, we're going to question Akashi why he's bowing, and Akashi would say, that's the current leader of Black Dragons. Then she's kind of shocked that Takemichi looks like that, and she kind of thought it was Taiju. She doesn't know about the new leader. But basically, Akashi says that Taiju was defeated by him. But yeah, so eventually all of Brahmin bows because they're the big three heads are, just not Senju. Then Senju talks to Takemichi, and eventually she shocks at Draken. Draken is still in Brahmin because Takemichi actually has Black Dragons as an active gang. For some of them, of course, if he wanted to, they'd all form, but yeah. Because Draken's mainly in Brahmin to stop the Confronting gang. Now, while they're there, Senju offers Takemichi a place to fuse with Black Dragons, but he says, if Mikey really is leading a new gang, then it's up to Black Dragons to stop him. Draken immediately says, alright then, I'm leaving Brahmin. Draken would open a closet, and that's when this Black Dragon uniform isn't there, but Hana threw a Black Dragon uniform to Draken, saying, I have my own. Because he had basically beat up another member for it once the incident was over. The member had to be the same size as Hama, and Hama beat the living hell out of him. So yeah, Hama has that uniform, and Draken doesn't know how he got it, but Takemichi doesn't really care. Akasa, Arashi, and Wakusa, they're going to question, Draken, he's leaving that fast, because Takemichi and Draken would say, well, he's a Black Dragon uniform, and he participated as a low-ranking member of Brahmin, a low-ranking member of Black Dragons, the moment Takemichi decided to use it against Tenjiku. Izuna is very conscious, on his phone, when he heard that the Tenjiku student saw Draken and Hana in a Black Dragon uniform. Immediately, he needed his own. So he asked Takemichi, keep working to get it, and Takemichi says, ask Mitsuya. He has a feeling that Mitsuya has probably hung on to all the uniforms, and he was right. Izuna called Mitsuya. Mitsuya says he'll be on his way. So now with this, Senju, she tells Takemichi that they could be rivals, but looks at Wakusa, who actually has some of the most loyalty. Then Arashi, then Akashi, and says that if they respect Black Dragons, they'll team up with him to take down Kanto. Takemichi, like I said before, due to him punching Mikey, has a big ego boost currently. It's going to run out soon, though. I'm telling you right now, he's not going to be this confident the whole time. But with this Arashi says he's willing to serve Black Dragons, but ask if Brahmin can still fuse so they can still be under one head, or still be in the same group. Takemichi agreed, and then look Senju holding out his hand, and Senju reluctantly shook his hands. Not shook his hand. This Takemichi basically said that Senju is his captain because Brahmin would listen to her. He'll say that he'll actually have to make Inoue is there and he says, what about me? And Takemichi says, alright then, you'll be my guard, I'll have a few guards. Pause. Alright, so with this Senju, Takemichi didn't say that he'll have a few guards. Here's Inoue's one of them. Looks at Izuna, looks at Hana, looks at Draken. Draken just says he's okay with being a captain. He needs to establish a formation like Tomon and Dragon. And then Takemichi's like, alright then, cool. So with this, Takemichi would then announce that Black Dragons would get back together. Mainly they'll help with Taiju and Inoue and Draken, just to get Draken the attention of the Tomon members, Taiju and Inoue with the attention of the Black Dragon members. And then with this, they got at the same church, and Takemichi would now have to establish a leader system. Now, I have to pause one more time, sorry. Alright, so Takemichi would basically just have to establish a captain thing, I guess. So, first leader, the first division being Draken. Second in command is going to be Chifuyu. Second division, same thing, with basically leader being Mitsuya, second in command or vice captain being Hakai. The division is going to be the same. It's going to be led by Pachin isn't out yet, so that wouldn't be the same. It's going to be led by Payon. Payon's hesitant, but Takemichi insists on it. This third division being led by Payon. Vice captain is going to be, let's say vice captain is going to be Akun. Akun and Mizo Middle fill up their division. Fourth division is going to be led by Taiju. Not like Taiju, It's going to be led by Smartly and Angry. Fifth division being led by Taiju. And, well, Hanma actually says that he'll be leaving Takemichi's guard to be the vice captain of the 5th Division. With this, Takemichi agrees to this, and that's when the rest of meets in the middle. Actually, leave and allow Inui and who was the other guard? I forgot. Inui and the other guard to basically be members of the 5th Division. So yeah, Izuna, the other guard. So Izuna actually go during the 1st Division, and Chifuyu steps down as vice captain. Like himself steps down. He says, "No, I don't want, if Izuna's going to join, then he can be the vice captain." If Izuna's vice captain, and Chifuyu just miscellaneous, and then Inui joins 5th Division, and Hanma immediately leaves and joins 1st Division. So Inui's vice captain of the Black Dragon, not Black Dragon, I mean he's vice captain of Black Dragons. Well, no, not anymore actually. He's vice captain of the 5th Division. So yeah, now it leaves Akun and Yamamoto to not be the guards of Takemichi. Akun's vice captain of 3rd Division. Yamagishi is just anywhere, not Yamagishi. Yamamoto's anywhere he wants to be. So Suzuki and Yamagishi, they're his guards, but then we have Wakasa, Arashi, and Akashi. So yeah, now with this, they have ceremony announcing the Black Dragons taking over Brahmin, but Senju still being vice captain. Without Brahmin, all Brahmin stays. Now we go to Takemichi and Senju hanging out. He happens to be out of town at this point, and when Takemichi and Senju hang out, he still has the vision of basically Senju being shot. Immediately when the guys come gather around Senju, we gather in front of Takemichi and Senju to attack. Well, one difference. They're all knocked on their ass by someone. Taiju got word of South, basically not South, but of what was it? I forgot it. He got word of Rokuhara moving on to basically battle the 4 deities. Not 4, it's 3 deities now. I'm pretty sure it's like 3 deities, but yeah, basically Taiju got word of it, and Hakai basically told him to go check on Takemichi and Senju. So where they all had guns, and suddenly all the guys with guns are just sent flying. Taiju basically shoulder blocked all of them, or basically ran through all of them, quite literally. And Senju would thank Taiju. Taiju would nod, saying, "No problem." And Taiju had softened up because Yuzuha basically told Taiju how to act, and Taiju didn't like it, but eventually that was his actual personality. He's kind of soft, but a lot like Hakai or Piccolo, so to say. Like, not Hakai, I mean, he's a lot like Piccolo, just very stern, but he's a very nice guy. He has sounds very rough and kind of blunt, but he's very nice. He has good intentions. The gunmen try to get back up, but Taiju stomps on every single one of them to the point where they're unconscious. Eventually, this leads to basically all of Rokuhara Tandai gathering around Takemichi and Senju, and then Wakasa, Arashi, and Akashi made the call to summon all Brahmin / Black Dragons to the location. When they all arrive, Rokuhara visualized the vast numbers of Brahmin. Takemichi would stare down south, while alongside Draken, because they have a little bit of bone to pick with them, and Izuna is with them as well. Maybe Draken would rush at them, but tells Takemichi Takemichi, Izuna, stay still, while him and Hanma handle south. Because south is attacked them before, and this time one of the guys that handle them were actually Draken and Hanma. Draken and Hanma are actually a pretty formidable duo, and with that, Hanma basically is able to jump over south, take on his arms, and they leave Draken basically just do a very good shoulder tackle on South's gut. South does kick away Draken, but Draken holds his legs in place, and Hanma and Draken proceed to swing around Draken and Hanma proceed to swing around South, and they throw him. Immediately, Izuna is right behind him and kicks him in the back full force, and it knocks the wind right out of South. South hits the ground, just gasping for air, and Izuna kicks him back in the head hard enough to knock him out. And Hanma says, "That works too." Because originally, when South got back up, they were both going to just basically kick him right in the face, but what Izuna did helps too. Now, eventually with this, we'd have Rokuhara basically leaderless. Eventually, Kakucho is stared down by Izuna. Kaku basically joined because he was approached by South, and South beat the living hell out of him, and basically the fight saying, "Oh yeah, if I win, you have to join Rokuhara." And South is nobody currently, so Kaku was like, "All right, sure," because he thought he'd beat South and he lost, so he was unforced to join. But now, Kaku basically has the hell beat out of him by Izuna, to the point where Kakucho is basically surrendering, And Izuna just says, "Get up," and go stand by Takemichi. Now, Madarame would rush at Takemichi, as Takemichi says no need to stop him, and he blocks the first punch by Madarame, and hits him right in the gut. Now, his arms did hurt a lot because he blocked the punch, but he was able to actually hit Madarame in the gut significantly hard. Madarame steps back holding his gut. Takemichi would grab his hands, take him through the brass knuckles, and takes it off his hands, and kicks him aside, and tells Kakuto to make sure no one interferes in the fight. Now this leads to a fight between Madarame and Takemichi. Madarame has the advantage physically, but Takemichi is still decently strong, and has decent stance and posturing with no openings. With this, eventually Madarame is knocked out because Takemichi actually got a good hit in right at his chin, and then got another one right to his gut, knocking him out. Takemichi fell on his knees, putting up blood, and it kind of got humbled by Madarame. See, Madarame is important now. And Takemichi goes back to normal, but with a bit more like having to have leadership, like, alright, everyone keep going, and I'm fine. Eventually, Confronting Mikey arrives, right as Rokar is being pushed back. With this, Mikey wakes up south and says that they're going to form a temporary alliance. On Takemichi, I should demand that him, Kakucho, Izuna, and Draken have to defeat Mikey. So they agree with this, and they rush at Mikey. Now Sanzu and Coco try to get in the way, but immediately will just jump and drop kick Coco right in the face. And with Sanzu, well, Mucho just ran through the whole crowd of Confronting, grabbing Sanzu and tackling him. He proceeds to wail on Sanzu until Sanzu is basically almost dead. Now, Sanzu basically being pummeled over and over and over and over and over. Eventually, Sanzu tips his paw and tries to stab Mucho on the side, but Takemichi basically just stomps on his wrist full force and breaks it. Now with this, before Mucho can kill him, Takemichi grabs Mucho and pulls him away, and Kaku punches Mucho right in the jaw, knocking him out. Sanzu and Mucho are out of mission alongside Coco. Now Takemichi, Draken, Izuna, Kaku, and Takemichi, Izuna, Draken, and Kakucho. They all attack Mikey. They fight. Izuna actually able to compare with Mikey decently. Then Draken doesn't know Mikey's fighting pattern the most. Actually able to take advantage of that. Takemichi does have decent physical strength. Actually able to hit Mikey. And with this, Mikey's having a shit rocked from each side. When eventually Kakucho uses his he's not the strongest physically, but he dominates the most. So Mikey's punched in the face, full horse by Kakucho, and he's sent flying into a brick wall. Now with this, a lot of Confronting gang surrounds him. But with this, we see Taiju step in front of him, alongside smiling angry next to him. They smirk, and immediately all the black dragons are not all dragons, but these three guys are dropping Confronting left and right. There are how many of them come at him? They're all sent flying. So Kai joins in, and we have this quartet that's unstoppable. Well, two pairs of brothers, one pair of brothers being smiling angry, the other pair being Taiju and Hakai. These two pairs of brothers, they're all insanely strong. Even as a group, well, they're unstoppable. They defeat half of Confronting gang themselves. Now this, the four, Takemichi, Draken, Izuna, and Kakucho, those four, well, they're able to push Mikey to his brink. Mikey is able to land a lucky roundhouse kick on Izuna's head, knocking him out, and jumps on Draken and proceeds to punch him in the face over and over and over until he's spitting out blood. But immediately, Hanawa will grab Mikey and begin squeezing him as hard as he can. Mikey's able to free one arm and punch Hanawa right in the face, push him back enough. So the Kakucho will tackle Mikey and they get him to the brick wall, punching him over and over and over. Mikey headbutts him and proceeds to punch him in the face as hard as he can, then roundhouse kick him in the face. Draken runs at him, but Draken had missed his initial punch, and Mikey does a roundhouse kick to him as well, knocking out three of them. And now it leaves Takemichi. Takemichi will rush at Mikey, and Mikey being some dominating Takemichi, until Shifuyu intervenes, dropping Mikey right in the face. Mikey and Shifuyu proceed to fight, and Shifuyu gets manhandled. But more members of basically just Taiju, Hakai, Mitsuya, Shifuyu, not Shifuyu's unconscious, so Taiju, Hakai, Mitsuya, Peion, Smiley, Angry, Inui, Mizo Middle. They proceed to attack Mikey, and they'll get the ever-living shit kicked out of them. But eventually it's enough for Mikey. Well, not enough Mikey. It's enough for Draken, Takemichi, easing Kakucho and Hanma to wake up. Takemichi has one broken arm, but is still in shape to fight. Here's that Mikey. He sees fight him. Mikey just runs Takemichi to diversion. As he goes for a ground kick, Takemichi is able to take the hit, but barely stay conscious. Because Mikey's dominant leg, and Mikey would let out a direct scream of pain. Taiju rushed and basically just trucked Mikey's broken leg. Since that, Mikey falls down on his broken leg. The Draken just jump on him and elbow drop him. And that basically Mikey gets the shit kicked out of him. Mikey getting the loving shit beat out of him. Well, he's unable to continue the fight. Draken landed the final punch, knocking him out cold. Now with this, he Draken hands up, and Takemichi first cops arrive, and then Mikey is just eventually dragged away by Draken. And, so Hanma, Kakucho, Izuna, Taiju, Hakai, Mitsuya, Chifuyu, Peion, Draken, finally angry, Inui, Koko, Takemichi moves to the middle. Draken drags all those guys, plus Draken dragging Mikey. They all unite at Mikey's grandfather's house. And watching the Draken once, he sees the guys behind him and sees them all in bad shape. But then he sees Draken holding Mikey. Now, Takemichi basically uses bandages on his hand to actually tape up Mikey's hands. And yeah, that's enough because they're kind of just tied together. Now with this, they go inside, and Mikey's tied to a chair, but chained to a chair, and he can't get out of it. Mikey's grandfather is excited to see Mikey because he hasn't been home for a really long time. But now with this, they'll talk for a bit, and as they talk, well, Mikey is just, first his leg is a concern, but that's split on splint by Mikey's grandfather, same with Takemichi's arm. And he eventually arrives in the shape of all of them, and in the shape of Mikey. He's kind of shocked, but Takemichi just says that, well, he had a few lucky hits in, and then those lucky hits went from being not lucky anymore to being just him enraged. Mikey asks Takemichi why he's still trying to save him, and Takemichi says, well, first off, he has a grudge against Mikey, saying that Mikey shot him 3 times in the future, because he's trying to be nice and help him, and because Mikey insists on being a jerk and forming another gang, Sanzu was killed. Mucho murdered Sanzu. So, yeah. And Takemichi had to basically break one of Mikey's ribs, but Mikey still shot him. Now Mikey hears about everything Takemichi went through up to the point of Pachin's marriage, and to Mikey shooting him, and Takemichi saving Mikey from the roof. Takemichi does say, you need help, I know it. Mikey's like, no, I don't. Takemichi says, well, you for yourself beg to differ, because I had to save his life, and he actually begged me to save him. Mikey was kind of shocked, and had to admit that he did need help. Takemichi tried to at least untape his mouth, but Mikey's head butted him right in the face. Not untape his mouth, but to at least give Mikey enough room to. First, he was kind of taped up pretty heavily, so Takemichi to tell Mikey give a little more expression and not breath as fast. Mikey's head butts him, and Takemichi is just rubs his face because it hurts, but yeah. Now, eventually, this leads to basically just Mikey yelling at Takemichi that Mikey should be left talking like he should just leave me alone. I'm of no use. Use to you. You don't need to save me. I will not move my path correctly. You're just interfering, or being a nuisance. That's really it. Takemichi doesn't really care. As she grabs Mikey by the collar and headbutts him back. He does it over and over and over until Mikey's nose is broken and Mikey's spitting up blood. But Takemichi just says that Mikey will be saved at any cost. Now with this, Mikey does try to says that Takemichi shouldn't chain him, and Takemichi says that fine, they'll battle it out. Because everyone step away and bring Mikey together and chains Mikey. And Takemichi's broken arm, blood versus a pretty beaten and battered Mikey with a broken leg. And it turns out to be his dominant leg that's broken, so Mikey can't do a good roundhouse kick. Because he can't use the other leg as he has to use one leg to jump, and that's really it. He can't use his other leg. He can't use the same leg for a kick. It's gonna be really hard. With Mikey unchained, Takemichi will take his arm out of the splint, and him and Mikey just they walk toward each other. Mikey and Takemichi proceed to trade blows. Takemichi using his broken arm to the best of his ability, and eventually he's able to get a pretty good slap in on Mikey's face as hard as he can. Mikey being slapped, he seems to be basically slapped by one arm, punched by the other, slap, punch. Then kicks Takemichi in the side. Takemichi will use broken arm to grab Mikey's leg. But before Mikey can even get his legs free, was about to get free. Takemichi elbows his knee as hard as he can, and with his good arm, and breaks his other leg. Mikey falls to the ground screaming in pain, and Takemichi gets Mikey and just holds him in place by using one arm and proceeds to headbutt him as hard as he can. Does over and over and over until Mikey's unconscious. Takemichi had beaten Mikey. Given they're both weakened, Mikey more than Takemichi, but yeah, Takemichi beat Mikey. This Takemichi does say that Mikey needs to pay for his crime. Because, well, Confronting Mikey was a lot more of a violent gang. And, well, feature crimes as well. Mikey turned into the police, and Takemichi is almost arrested, but, well, Draken tried to stop it, so does Hanma, but, well, Draken does watch as Kakucho, Izuna, Hanma, and most of the vice captains of Tomon, captains of Tomon step forward. Draken's a little confused, and they say, well, Tomon hasn't really been good either, and Takemichi's our leader. If he's going to jail for helping us with our problems, we're going to go with him. Because, well, Takemichi really was helping them. Mikey was their problem, and he helped. So, as repayment for Takemichi, they all basically get sent to juvie together. Wait, let me pause real quick. So, Draken is kind of put in jail, but due to them not having to pin any crimes on him, he does the same amount of time as all his friends. Takemichi actually does the most time. But he gets sent to a different juvenile. Well, the rest of them are in juvenile detention. Takemichi sent to a juvenile prison. When Takemichi's in there, he meets two people, Pachin and Payon. And they coincidentally see South. South, well, the broken jaw. South sees Takemichi and questions why he's in there. Takemichi says he beat Mikey. And first everyone says first he turned in Mikey and he got arrested alongside him. Everyone says how did Mikey get arrested, and everyone that knows the name of Mikey or Invincible Mikey would hear Takemichi say he beat him. Yasuo and Pachin got along a little bit, and they're able to restore their relationship, but everyone's equally shocked to hear Takemichi beat Mikey. South immediately froze, realizing he does know he can't beat Mikey, but Takemichi beat him. What chance does he have against him? But Takemichi does say that Draken's in jail. Everyone else is in juvenile detention, not prison. But eventually, Takemichi, he basically became the leader of the whole juvenile detention hall. And she does say that he killed Kasaki to Kazutora. So Kazutora's like, at least Baji got somewhat revenge. Takemichi said, no, killing Kazutora would be revenge. Killing Kasaki was part of it. But yeah. But now with this, we fast forward a few years. Takemichi, when he's 19, is released. Everyone else, including Draken, had served 2 years. Takemichi got an extra year. And Kazutora and Pachin were freed around the same time as Takemichi. So, when they get out, Takemichi will get out with a few guys behind him, and they all bow about Takemichi saying goodbye. Takemichi's met outside with Draken in the car, and Draken tells Takemichi get in. He sees Pachin, Kazutora, and South. He's like, South, you walk. The other two get in. Takemichi says South can ride in the back or in the trunk. Draken just being South mad, says South can ride in the trunk. They drive away. South is complaining why he has to be in the trunk, and Draken says no. So Draken hates him, and it's Draken's car. This basically concludes Kotoku Revengers. Yes, Mikey was in juvenile prison, but he was in the hospital for a majority of the time. His legs and head, Takemichi basically headbutted him so much his teeth were shot out of his mouth, his nose was broken, and Mikey had a pretty cracked skull. Plus both of his legs and a few ribs were broken. So yeah, Mikey was in pretty bad condition. But Takemichi got old enough alongside Kazutora, and then we put in jail or prison alongside South. So they were put in jail. I don't know if I said that, but if I said juvenile prison, my bad. But they were put in prison. But yeah, now with this, this concludes the whole Tokyo Revengers incident. Mikey was arrested. Takemichi eventually heads back to the future, and Takemichi 1 is in the hospital. But he's guarded by a few guys, and he sees a certain police officer shivering to walk in the room. But Takemichi was hit up, ended up saying, go away, I served my time. And everyone's shocked to see him awake. Takemichi basically put in a coma by Mikey. Well, first he was shot so much and lost a lot of blood, and then he put in a coma. Mikey's in the hospital room next to him, and he's guarded by a lot of guys as well. Well, Sanzu is in a morgue. And Musho's in prison. Eventually with this will include Tokyo Revengers. Takemichi leading Black Dragons had a decent impact, I'd say. If you guys enjoyed, like and subscribe for another similar What If. Goodbye.